You're listening to an AppleViz podcast. Hello and welcome. Thank you for giving this podcast a listen. My name is Thomas Domville, also known as Anonymous. In this podcast, I'm going to show you how to set up personalized spatial audio with AirPods. All right, so we have done a podcast in the past that discussed about spatial audio, what this is, and how to use it, what it's for, and etc. Well, this is going to show you how to set up personalized spatial audio. So Apple gave us a feature here that not only gives us spatial audio, but now we can personalize it to you and how your head looks, your ears look. I know that sounds crazy, right? How you look. So it really is a three-step process to do this. And really, its first phase is just going to scan your face in the front view. And then the second step or second phase is going to scan your right ear. And then the third and last final step is phase 3, which scans your left ear. So essentially what this does, it gets us kind of understanding how your head is shaped. That could be for funny, So shape of your head. And then it takes a look at your ear. It personally, it's like the shape of it, the size, the ridges, and everything about your ear, the little nooks and crannies, innies and outies. And then, of course, your left ear does the same thing. And then it will define what it thinks the personalized spatial audio should be for you and with your headphones that you're using. It does make a little difference to me. I've noticed a little difference. Some people say they don't notice much of a difference. So really, it's going to be a personal preference. But nonetheless, if you do own one of Apple's products of the AirPod line, whatever that is, the basic AirPod, AirPod Pro, or the AirPod Max, that's the one I'm going to be using today to customize or personalize my spatial audio in this podcast. It does work for the Apple line of Beats headphones. There are certain headphones it does support as well. Otherwise, all other headphones it doesn't support and doesn't use it. So, which is kind of a bummer. I wish that it would support the Sonys and Bose and things like that a lot of us do use. This is not for the faint of heart. I know a lot of people have issues with it and it's difficult to get it set up. I agree with you. It is difficult. When I first tried to set up it, I was just flustered. And, I've done this like 100 times so I can get prepped up for this podcast, and things are becoming much easier and I get a better understanding how to use it. And that's the point of this podcast. I hope that I pass along of how my experience worked with you. So I'll share that with you, how I do everything in terms of what it's looking for and how to make this thing more efficient and simpler for you. Now, I have quite a few people email me say, "Oh, pretty, please, Mouse, would you be able to do this podcast? I don't understand it." This podcast is for you. I'll try to make the simple and easy to use out of something that's very challenging for a lot of people. Now, if you have a hard time using Face ID or getting that set up, this is just going to be the nth degree up. It makes it even harder because the ear scanning just doesn't make sense when I first did it, but then I understood, oh, that's what it's looking for. And it's not as hard as you think it is once you get the picture. All right, now let's just get that out of the way. Now we're going to learn about the scanning and how you are presented, what you need to do in terms of what it's looking for. This is going to become a lengthy process. I'm going to do it now because once we start the scanning process, you only have a limited time to be able to do the setup. Otherwise, if you do it too long or you have no successful result, you'll have to start all over again and do the scan again. I wish I could take the time and to kind of tell you everything as I'm doing and the process, but it doesn't give me enough time to do that. So I'm going to tell you first and something you need to know before we start this podcast. All right, let's start with the frontal facial scan. It's going to want to scan the front of the face. This is very similar to the Face ID process. I find the Face ID process a little simpler because it gives me a progress, 10%, 20%. This doesn't seem to do that. It does give a progress, but it seems like it's not doing it as you're doing it. So it seems like at the very last minute it goes, oh, it's done. And it's like, wow, I didn't hear the progress. But if you follow this process, you should be able to do it. The first thing we need to do is to put, when we first start do the scanning of the frontal scan of your face, you need to put your phone right up to your nose. So my advice is to put the top of the phone, the middle top portion, right at the tip of your nose. That's where you need to be, not at the bottom of your nose, but just on your pointy part of your nose. That's where the top part of the phone should be. And then pull that out flat and level about 8 inches away from your face. It needs to be perfectly up and down. Don't tilt it upward or downward. And a lot of people probably don't realize that. So try to keep that in mind as you're pulling it back, is that phone is directly vertical with the floor and the ceiling, straight up and down, not slanted backwards or forward. So make sure that is in place. Number 2, your face needs to be perfectly in front. So you're just looking right in the middle. You're not looking up, not looking down. Your angle of your head is perfectly vertical with the ceiling and floor, just like the phone is. So it needs to be level and parallel from your face to that phone. The other thing to remember is your shoulder needs to be set in place. So make sure that shoulder stays in place and never moves. Don't tilt it. Don't move to the left or right. You're only moving your face and your neck, and that is it. Try to keep that phone level and don't turn the phone as you do it. I know when you're trying to move your head and such, you start to tend to move your shoulder or your phone. That's going to be very important to keep those not moving. Just your face and your neck is the only thing that's moving. As we look at that phone device, now, my face is perfectly in parallel with that, so I'm looking at the center of a clock, for example. And you're going to move your head to the left, like you're moving to like 45-degree angle. You may have to go a little further left when you're doing the face scan. So you may have to do a full 90, but not really 90, maybe 50, 60 degrees. So 45-degree angle, you tilt your head to the left as you're looking to the left side at the 9 o'clock portion of the clock. And then you're going to move your head back to the center. So you're not going to use the eyes to look to the left or right. You're actually tilting your head to the left and right. Now we'll go to the right where the 3 o'clock position is of a clock. You're tilting your head to the 45 degrees to the right. So we're looking 45-degree angle, maybe a little more. It's about 60 degrees. And then we go back to the middle portion of the clock. Now we're going to look up towards the 12 o'clock position. And when I say look, you're going to tilt your head 45-degree angle upward. So you're got a little nook in your neck as you do a 45-degree angle. So you just lift up your chin towards the ceiling to look at the 12 o'clock position. And while you're up there, we're going to look left. So you see the top left portion of the screen or the ceiling. That's probably 10:30 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock position. And then we'll go back to the 12 o'clock and we're going to go to the right as you're looking towards the top right portion of the ceiling, towards the 1 o'clock or 1:30 of a clock. And then go back to 12 o'clock, back down to the center of the clock. And then we're going to look down to the 6 o'clock position, meaning that you tilt your head downwards 45 degrees. So we got our whole head tilting downwards, looking at 6. And then we're going to tilt to the right, looking at the area where the 5 o'clock for 4:30 position is, or the bottom right-hand corner of the floor. And then you go back to the center of the 6 o'clock position. And then we'll tilt our head to the left towards the 7:30 clock position as you're looking toward bottom portion left of the floor. All right, so bottom left. And then go back to 6th and then up to the center. Now, you're doing this smoothly, very softly, gentle, and you're not doing it too fast, and you don't want to do it too slow. So, for example, I'm looking at the middle. I'm going to go look to my 9 o'clock, and I'm tilting, and then I'll go back to the middle, and I'm going to go tilt to the right to the 3 o'clock position, and to the back to the middle. That's how quickly or in the speed that you want to do the whole process, okay? That is the frontal area. Now, when we do the right ear, this is a little different, and this is where a lot of people have a lot of problems. Once again, highly recommend once you start scanning your right ear, you're going to put that phone, your ear needs to be, so take the top middle portion of the phone, that needs to be in the middle of your ear. And then you pull that out like as you're on the side of your head, and it's going to go on the right side of the screen, and it's going to be level and parallel to your ear, just like my face was to the camera in front of me. It's going to be to your right of you. So it's going to be kind of fun with your arm and shoulder. And remember, that phone needs to be level, not tilted, anything, but parallel with your ear. Now, when you pull that phone out of your ear, instead of 8 inches, try about 6 or 7 inches. You're not going to go as far out. I noticed that the further out it gets, it doesn't really scan very easily, but I noticed that you don't have to be as far out. So try that. Once that's level with you, we're going to do the same process of looking at in front of you while that camera's to the right here, looking at your right ear. You're looking at the middle part of your the clock, and then we're going to turn left 45 degrees angle. And this time you don't have to go as far left or right. So remember, I was saying you may have to go to 56 degrees on the front. Well, the ear part, you do not. So you can easily just tilt your head to the 45 degree angle to the left as you're looking at 9 o'clock, and then back to the center, and then tilt your whole head to the right by 45 degree angle to the 3 o'clock position, and then come back to the middle. Now, this is where it gets different, and both ears are going to be the same process. You look at the 9, middle, 3 o'clock, back. Now, instead of doing a 45 degree angle up to look up, you're going to do this instead. You're going to tilt your whole head 45 degree angle, like I'm in an angle, I'm seeing things sideways, but you're only going to tilt your head 45 degrees, nothing more. So you just tilt it to the left like your head is towards your left shoulder. Stay right there, and that will pretend that is the 12 o'clock. We're looking at 12 o'clock. Turn your head left as you're looking towards your shoulder. That is going to be the 11 o'clock, 10:30 o'clock position in practice, okay? Now that you're looking at your shoulder there, go back to the center, which remember, the center is with the 45 degree angle, and you're looking to in an angle. And now you're going to turn to the right like you're looking upward, but you're turning your whole head towards that. It's like I'm looking at the top corner of the ceiling up there. That's going to be like the 1 o'clock, 1:30 position. And then go back to the center with your 45 degree angle towards your left shoulder. Now I'm going to put my head upright like it was back to normal, and then we're back to the center of the clock. Now, we're going to do the same thing to your right shoulder. You're going to tilt your head sideways 45 degrees towards your right shoulder. Once you tilt it, now we're going to tilt our head towards the ceiling to the left, like I'm looking at the top left-hand corner of the ceiling, and then we'll go back to the middle, and then we're going to go look as you turn right, as I'm looking at my shoulder, my right shoulder, and then back to the middle, and upright, bring everybody up to the middle. And now that should complete the process of scanning your ear, and that will work for the right and left ear. So that is the clock process. As looking at the clock, as introduce you to 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. There's also the box process if you want to use instead. If that clock process is a little complicated or it doesn't seem to work for you, let's do the box process. I like to use this one better, but some people might like to know the clock process anyway. All right, so the box process is very similar to the clock process. You are now, you know how our Face ID, and we're going to do a front scan of our head. It's going to ask you to tilt your or move your head in a circle, right? I like to think of it in a box, meaning I'm going to use the tip of my nose and I'm going to pretend that nose is inside of a box. Meaning when I have that phone out in front of me and I'm ready to do a front scan, that nose is looking straight forward, right? Now I'm going to move that nose and tilt it to the left, 45-degree angle, just like we were doing before. Maybe a little bit more, 60 degrees, until that nose touched the left side of the box. And now we're going to move that nose to the top left-hand corner of that box. So move your nose upward in a 45-degree angle to the left, like you're touching the left upper side of the box. And now we're going to move that nose to the right until we get to the middle top side of that box. Keep moving your nose to the right until we get to the upper right-hand corner of that box. So your nose should be up there, 45 degrees angle with your chin tilted up. Now drag that nose down along the right side of the box. So you're now looking to the right, and as you get to that nose to the bottom right-hand corner of that box, right? And now you should be with your chin downward with a 45-degree angle, and your nose is touching that bottom, that corner. Bring your nose to the left, to the middle of that box at the bottom, and now move that nose to the bottom left-hand corner of that box, and then move your nose up along the left side of the box and back to the center. I call that the nose box. The ear, you're going to do the same thing with the ear, but you're going to do the middle of the ear. So concentrate with your ear. When you start scanning your ear, you're going to move that middle of the ear towards to the left side of the box and move that middle part of the ear to the top left-hand corner. Now you notice your head is tilting just like I wanted you to do. You're tilting 45-degree angles towards your shoulder. It's up in that corner. Move your middle part ear to the middle top and keep going to the right until you get that middle part of the ear at the top right-hand corner. And then along down the right-hand side, you're still tilting your head to the right. And now get to the bottom right-hand corner. You should be tilting your head towards that 45-degree angle towards your shoulder. And now we're at the bottom left. Move your middle ear to the middle bottom of that box, and then move your ear to the bottom left, and then bring it up a little bit to the left side, and then drag it back to the center of the box. So now you know to process, and you can decide for yourself which one you want to use. If you are a hearing aid user like myself, you will need to remove those units as it needs to see in your ear. Otherwise, you're going to say, there's something in your ear and I can't see your ear. And yes, and as crazy as this sounds, I can tell a little bit of difference even when I put my ear back on, and I call them my Mickey ears. Those are my hearing aids, my Mickey ears. Anyway, I can tell a little bit of difference of the spatial audio when I do this process with my hearing aid off, and then I put it back on, and I'm able to hear that. All right, no more of that. Anyway, that is the process. So practice that first before we dive into it, and be graceful about it. Think about it. Middle, 9 o'clock, middle, 3 o'clock, middle, 12 o'clock, upper left, upper right, middle, down to the center, down to the bottom center, 6 o'clock, left, right, and you're moving your whole face. You're not just looking. You're not moving just your eyeballs. Everything needs to be parallel and your shoulder straight. Are you ready? All right. I'm going to wake up my AirPod Max here. You have to shake it up a little bit. And yes, you have to have a perfect view of your head, so make sure there's no obstacle in the way. So like my headphones is in the way of doing this podcast, I'll have to take that off and to be able to do the process. A clear view of your head.
Settings. Double tap to open.
All right, so here's settings. One finger double tap.
Settings.
Okay, so we're going to swipe to right until you find the headphones that we are doing the customization or setting up the personalized spatial audio. In my case, it's the AirPod Max. I'm going to swipe to the right until I get to that item. So you hear all these following items as I swipe to the right.
Search. Search field. Dictate. Button. Thomas Domville. Apple ID. Family. Button. Apple Care Plus coverage available. 37 days remaining. Thomas's AirPods Max. Button.
That's the one you're looking for. One finger double tap.
Thomas's AirPods Max. 1%.
Okay, so this is my AirPod Max area, I am going to use the rotor and go to headings, or you can just swipe to the right until you get to the spatial audio heading section.
Noise control. Heading. Button cycles between. Heading. Spatial audio. Heading.
Now we'll go to the right here.
Personalized spatial audio. Button.
There's your personalized spatial audio. One finger double tap here.
You can use your iPhone camera. Thomas's AirPods Max. Back button.
Okay, so the back button is at the top left. So I'll go to the right here.
Personalized spatial audio. Button.
There is your personalized spatial audio. That is it on this page. It will change after you get to set up, which I will show you. But for now, we're going to do one finger double tap.
Settings. Personalized spatial audio. Heading.
As always, I like to start with the top left here. 4-finger tap towards the top.
Cancel. Button.
You have the cancel button at the top left. If you want to cancel it, double tap that.
Personalized spatial audio. Heading.
As I go to the right,
you can use your iPhone camera to personalize spatial audio for the shape of your ears.
Yep.
Personalized spatial audio will be used on devices signed into your Apple ID when connecting supported headphones.
So it sync across your Apple ID, which is kind of nice. So if you use your headphone for other devices, it will carry on across and use this setup for those devices.
Continue. Button.
Double tap to continue.
Front view. Heading.
Let's go to top left here.
Cancel. Button.
We have the cancel button at the top left once again. So if you want to get out, double tap that. Go to the right.
Front view. Heading.
Now we're doing the front view. So as I mentioned before, there's 3 steps. Front view, right ear view, and then left ear view.
Position your face in the camera frame. Then move your head in a circle to show all the angles of your face.
The angle, that's the $1 million thing. As I mentioned to you, that's why I told you how to tilt your head in certain position for which view. So the front view, remember, 45 degree up, 45 degrees down, 45 degrees left and right. Remember on the ears, you stay the same on the front middle, but this time you tilt your whole head 45 degrees, like if you're going towards your shoulder, look left and right, and then go back up, and then tilt you to the right ear or the right shoulder, downward 45 degrees, and look up and down, left to right, I should say, as we practice, right?
Start front view capture button.
All right, so this is it. I'm going to do what I said before. Once I double tap that, I'm going to place my nose, the tip of my nose, at the top middle of the phone, pull back about 8 inches, and then I'm going to start with that middle of the clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, upper left to the 11 o'clock, upper right to the 1 o'clock position, down to 6 towards the 7 o'clock position, and to the right at 5 o'clock position, and I'll be back. I got to remove my headphones to do this. I'll do a 1-finger double tap to start this process.
Front view capture, heading. 62% first scan. Tilt your head down into the left. Tilt your head down into the left. 100% completed. Front view angles have been captured. Press continue to capture the side angles and complete your personalized spatial audio setup. Continue button.
All right, so the first scan is done. Top left.
Cancel button.
Cancel. Go to the right.
First scan completed.
First scan is completed.
Front view capture, heading. Front view angles have been captured. Press
Excellent.
continue to capture the side angles and complete your personalized spatial audio setup. Continue button.
All right, double tap here. Continue.
Start right ear capture. Right ear, heading. Position the right side of your head in the camera. Start right ear capture button.
All right, so we're ready to capture the right ear. Again, this is the process of the ear to the right. Remember to put that middle of your ear on the top of the phone and pull back about 6 inches, not as far out, and do the process I mentioned. So let's try that.
Start right ear capture button. Right ear capture, heading. Turn your head right. Turn your head right. Turn your head right. Reposition your head to the center, then turn your head right. Your right ear angles have been captured. Continue with your left ear. Continue button.
All right, that's been done. Now, I was moving my phone. I caught myself. Oh, don't move the phone. Do it again. That process, as I mentioned before.
Cancel button.
Cancel top left.
First scan completed.
All right, first scan was completed.
Right ear capture, heading.
Right ear.
Your right ear angles have been captured.
Excellent.
Continue with your continue button.
Double tap here.
Start left ear capture.
Now
Left
we're
ear.
ready for the
Heading.
left ear. Remember what I mentioned? Put the phone in the center of your ear, the top center, pull it out by 6 inches, and do the process.
Start left ear capture. Button. Left ear capture. Heading. Your left ear angles have been captured. You have completed your personalized spatial audio setup. You have completed your personalized spatial audio setup. Done. Button.
All right, so there you have it. Now, I've noticed that it tells you to do 10 to 20 inches out. And that could possibly be for certain people. What it's going to be is going to be about that distance and how it recognizes. If you move your phone too much or you do something too long, if it gets to the part where it says center your head, look right, I notice that it goes in a cycle and I can never get it done. I have to do it all over again. You have to go to the top left to cancel and do it the whole process over. So really, it's about keeping that darn phone level and parallel with your ear and face. And make sure you don't move. Remember that shoulder? I know it's difficult, but you may have to go to 10, 20 inches on the side of your head. It needs to see the whole frame of your ear. In my case, sometimes being closer works better than being out, but that is the hard part. It's just trying to figure out that distance. But I am done, so it gives you the option to double tap done.
Settings. Thomas's AirPods Max. Back button.
So we're back to that process where we have the back button top left. If you go to the right here,
You are using personalized spatial audio. This improves rendering of spatial audio when using supported AirPods or Beats headphones with your Apple devices. About personalized spatial audio and privacy. Link.
now you hear
Double
that
tap to activate
now.
embedded
You can
link.
Double tap if you want more information.
Stop using personalized spatial audio.
Now you get the option to stop the personalized, and you can double tap to stop using. Otherwise, we are done. I know that made that sound easier than it really is. Believe me, I am with you. It is difficult, but I hope the process and the position of the head helps you to understand how that works. Make sure you think about where you need to be. And the reason why we're doing 45-degree angles, like I'm tilting towards my head to my shoulder, that is because it wants us to see the top portion of your ear. So think about it. The camera's looking at the top. And if you tilt your head to the left, 45-degree angles towards your shoulder, it's seeing the bottom portion of your ear, and it goes around and see the shape of your ear on the outside of the ear. So anyhow, that is how to set up personalized spatial audio with AirPods. I hope this was helpful and that you're now able to use this a little bit better, a little bit simpler for you to use. Until next time, my name is Thomas Domville, also known as Anonymous. Bye-bye.
This AppleVis podcast has been brought to you by the community of applevis.com. For the latest resources and tips and tricks to get you the best experience from your Apple device, visit www.applevis.com.